Hey guys, welcome out to another episode of Pod of War. I'm your host, Whifkers, and we're joined by Xbox Live's own CW Lanky.
Hello.
And Chris has had a facial improvement this week. It's been
Mm-hmm.
really. Say hi, Chris.
Hi everyone.
So you're going to
It's like the
explain?
birth is given box.
You're going to
Given.
explain? What did you? Did the
It's
birth just give in box, Craig?
Yeah.
it is
The evil within.
I don't know, evil win keeper box.
I love the idea of you
Keeper.
carrying that around EGX.
Well, it's flat pack.
Ah,
that as
you
well.
had to make it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I've got Dishonored 2 box thing, but that doesn't go on your head.
Well, that's lucky because we're going to be talking about Bethesda this week. Hey guys, so it's been a good week this week for news, and it's been a good week for games, I'm sure. So we will start, as we always start, with what we've been playing. So I'm going to presume that Craig's played the most. So we'll start with the Pengals. Pengals, what have you played this week? Don't leave anything out, anything shameful. You're welcome to admit it live on air.
Okay. So I played more Football Manager, of course.
Standard at this point.
A tiny bit of Bravely Default. I'm near the end of chapter 1.
First
So
of many chapters, I assume.
I don't know how many chapters the game will have because
600.
this one you're looking for the water crystal, and there's 4 crystals,
fair
4
enough.
heroes of light. So I expect it's find all 4 crystals, then do something. But I expect every chapter is going to be like 4 hours long.
You didn't
or
finish
10
the
hours
first one,
long.
did you?
No.
Yeah, because you refight the crystal bosses like 17 times in the first one.
Yeah.
Just a heads up.
Something like that might happen.
So,
I played
Chris, you have 12 days, I think, until Monster Hunter Rise comes through your door.
Yes.
Are we confident Bravely Default 2 is going to be finished before then?
It won't be finished before.
It sounds like it's going very slow.
Which means it won't be finished after then, Craig, as well. That's the rule.
Yeah.
So is it not good? What's not grabbing you and making you want to play this, Chris?
I've enjoyed what I've played so far. I just haven't played more of it. There's, nothing wrong with there is nothing wrong with it. It's not like I dislike this or whatever. But no, this yeah. So I've also played some Journey of the Broken Circle, which came to Xbox this Thursday or Friday. It's been on Switch for a while, like a Switch eShop exclusive, but it's come to Xbox. I think it might come to PlayStation as well this week. So I picked that up on Xbox instead of Switch. I had it in my Switch wish list for a while, but never got around to picking it up on that. And now I've got it on Xbox, so play a little bit of that.
For the uneducated like myself, what is Journey of the Broken Circle, I think?
It's sort of a platformer.
Sort of.
Yeah, because it does lack a little bit of jumping because you're just like a circle who's missing a broken piece, and he wants the piece to, make him complete, make him a full circle, basically.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's got so a bit of that. Then I played a lot of other things, but I think I'm gonna have to talk about my pickup to talk about what I've been playing on it. So I don't know if you wanna.
You can go into
come
your
back to
pickup.
me.
Go right ahead, Chris. You go right ahead with
Right,
your
The
pickup.
excitement
right
on his
ahead.
face.
I don't know. I picked up a Quest 2. So I could have worn this. I could have worn this underneath my.
How much did that cost?
I managed to get it for $250. I haven't got both controllers here. I've only got the one controller because one's left, one's right, so you can kind of gather from this. So this is obviously the
Craig is shocked and appalled. Is the phrase?
So Craig is dead.
No, Pengy. So how is the Quest 2, right? It's a wireless VR headset for the uneducated.
Yes.
Standalone, you haven't got to attach it to anything. I don't think.
So you don't. It doesn't matter if you've got a decent PC or not. You can obviously connect it to the PC and use it like a Rift if you want to. I did look at my settings of mine using the Steam VR tester. It's on the low end, but it looks like I could play Half-Life Alyx if I wanted to. There's a few workarounds because obviously that's on Steam. This is Oculus, so you could do something like that of it. But yeah, it's really good. Obviously, my previous VR experience has been with the PSVR, which has got like 3 or 4 cables plugged to it. This has got none. That is also its one issue is the battery life on it is pretty dreadful. Play for like an hour or two, and then it's down to like 20%. So it needs charging. After that, that's its thing. But I've played a few demos, and you're going to call them, I guess, experiences of like videos and stuff on there.
Lots of porn.
And
Lots of VR porn there so far. That's understandable.
no,
It's the killer
so
app.
so far I have tried the super hot demo
Nice.
on there, and that was pretty good. I've tried. It's got 2 like built-in apps. One's called First Steps, which just is like a simple like this is how you move around in VR. This is how you do things. And you like dance with like a Pixar like robot in it. It's pretty basic, but it shows you how it works in the room scale and all that up there. The older version of before First Steps was one called First Contact, which is a similar thing. Again, you're messing around with like a little robot, and you're like a shooting gallery and that, and obviously you're aiming and firing where you want to. And that I also recorded. You can record the footage and do a test thing of Bait, which is a fishing game, so it's pretty simple, and you can obviously do that sitting down, so you have the options of sitting, like standing or room scale, depending on the game, sort of thing, thing like that. So I recorded that because I want to sort of try the recording for. So there is a video on my YouTube channel of me fishing. So
That
we'll
is
get a bit of
content we all
fishing
need,
in.
and that is youtube.com/, was it Massive Das now?
Yes, it is massive. That's
Massive
got
Das, exciting
fishing.
stuff.
I played the Creed demo, which is obviously based on the Creed films, so like the Rocky stuff like that. And obviously that works quite well. The movement, it doesn't have the room scale, which I thought, so you can move around and like pretend you're in the boxing ring. You like got to swing your arms to make yourself like move around the ring, which is very odd. But that works well, and it tracks the controller as well. Also on the Rift has hand tracking. I played another like demo. I say demo because it does no like full game, so it's like half an hour sort of thing called Exila or something like that, where it's like you're what do you call it, like a wizard or doing potions and that, and like your hands turn into tentacles, but it does the hand tracking. So like you one point you get claws like Wolverine, and then like you doing this with like your hands with just out the controller. You're trying to you can like type on like a virtual keyboard like that in like the air and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, and then I played like 2 movies, I guess. One was called Henry, something like that. Where it's like this little hedgehog. It's narrated by Elijah Wood, and it's just you can like look around his like front room and stuff like that, and he's trying to find himself a friend because he's a hedgehog. So every time he hugs someone, he pokes them with his like spikes and that. He does find a friend, and there's one called Dear
Spoilers.
Angelica, which was built in the Quill. Like there's like a paint app on there as well if you want to do that. And the whole thing was done in that, so that was pretty good. And then played all that. That was pretty fine. And I've played a few things in VR. Like I've played Resident Evil 7 in VR. I played this one called Journey of the Gods. Played the demo of that. But that you actually use the thumbsticks of the controller. So left one moves left right like a first person shooter of a thing. But we obviously used the controllers once we shield, once we assured. It was kind of cool, but even I felt a bit woozy. But I went from sitting looking at like a film to like going to like one of the most extreme things. There's a few other stuff that I haven't played yet on there, like free stuff. And there's one called Half and Half, which looks a bit like Journey, but it's like a multiplayer hide and seek thing. So there's a few bits on there, and then see what comes up on the sale. But I most probably will get Vader Immortals that was originally on Quest. There's a new Star Wars game just come as well, Tales of the Galaxy, and they're actually all canon as well. All those Star Wars games as well. Yeah, so it's been pretty good.
Nice. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
When we turned this on, I was expecting a Neo Geo of some kind. That was my bet in our group chat.
No.
But, okay, so what is the long term goal for that for the Quest 2? Is there's obviously the few games you've mentioned. Then is there like a quite a large roadmap for games for the Quest 2, or is it a case of
There's a
playing
few.
Half-Life Alyx and then getting the PSVR when it comes to PS5 next year or a couple of
There's a
years,
few
whatever?
games coming. Like Ven comes this year. It's already out on Rift, but it's coming to Quest, which is a 3D platformer, and obviously you had Astro Bot on PSVR, and you had Moss, which is available on Quest. But I played it on PSVR, and that's really good. So there's a few things like that. There's loads of games on there, and there's like 300 games in the library. A lot of them do have demos, and there's the free stuff. It's just a lot of it because it's digital only, and there is competition, but it's like the only standalone one. A lot of it's like I think like Beat Saber, which is like the killer app I would say on it. It's like 29.99, so it's just looking for some good deals
Ooh,
and
okay.
stuff like that, and see what comes up. And like I said, Tales of the Star Wars. I think it's 3 or 4 hours, which sounds short, but for a VR game, that's actually quite a long thing. That's 20 quid to see what comes on sale and go on there. But it's like obviously without a PSVR, PSVR 2 is going to be a few years away. Like I said, my laptop is on the lower end. Like I can only just play like a Half-Life Alyx now. So like next year or even later this year, the PC VR stuff's going to be unattainable to play. So it's fills that sort of gap until like 2023, 2024 or something for PSVR 2.
Nice. So I suppose the big question that everyone wants to know is, are you going to bring back the Pengals VR show?
Possibly, like I said, I updated bait under that. I had to change the name slightly because obviously it's not PlayStation VR. So try a few other things, record footage,
Oh,
and
here
then
we
if one,
go. Uh,
and then
the Pengal
and when I
Quest. How about
yeah, so when I do buy, let's say even say Pistol Whip or something, you're like, here's me buying Pistol Whip and not getting doing well because I have no rhythm whatsoever.
that? Nice.
Are you? There was a VR game that came out a couple of weeks ago, I think, that reviewed really well. Is it The Climb or The Climb 2, something like
Yes,
that?
the Climb 2,
Is that on
that
it?
is that's on there. It's one of the big games on it that just come out. It's one of the ones, like I said, there's been a lot of like decent VR coverage recently. Like PlayStation did like a VR day. Don't know why they didn't like a state of play or put it in state of play or something. They showed like 6 new VR games. You had the Climb come out, and then the Quest was on offer at places and stuff like Amazon. It's 300. It's normal RRP. Amazon had it for 270, but I managed to have a quick scoot around the internet and find one for 249.99. So I thought, yeah,
The
let's
Pengals
give
deals.
yeah, so let's give it a pick up.
So other than that, obviously you haven't picked up any other normal games, no?
Nope.
The only other
No.
pickup you have done though, Pengy, is I'm not going to get the URL up because I can't be bothered. But you've added Elden Ring to your fantasy critic, thus filling
Yes.
your roster.
Yes, unless obviously anything goes, will not release anything above Breath of the Wild 2, I believe. So
Yeah,
Shin Megami Tensei 5 goes will not release, so I can drop it and pick up something else. Yep, so I've gone from Elden Ring. There was a leaked trailer. I haven't watched it myself, but apparently they
I have.
showed substantial gameplay of the horseback combat and apparently looks quite robust. And Namco's trademarked like an event called Namco Next, which sounds like it's going to be their state of play or Nintendo Direct. Especially you picked up Tales last week, which more info in the spring, which could be at the Tales like anniversary, but it wouldn't surprise if Namco did this Namco Next, and it's here's Elden Ring, here's Tales of Arise, here's Scarlet Nexus State, here's Tekken 7's new character and stuff like that. So Namco can show a decent amount of stuff, maybe DLC for Little Nightmares 2 or something. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a state of play or next, as it's called, seems to be called soon with Elden Ring. So it's just if it gets dated for this year is going to be the question.
It's a gamble, but it could pay off. Yeah, it certainly
Yeah.
could.
If it comes out, it's gonna just got review where like look at Demon Souls last year and Sekiro like the year before. All the Souls games review very well. So if it does come out, it's going to be a 90+ game. It's just if it comes out.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to me because Craig's got the most to talk about. So we'll have a little cleanser between Chris and then we move on to Craig. So it was my birthday last week, wasn't it, boys? So I did get a couple of pickups. First of all, Chris, this is all the PlayStation stuff as well, which is funny. So I have this lovely little thing here. That is the PlayStation Media Remote, which we've been using because my girlfriend doesn't like turning the controller on. This works really well. If you just want to use YouTube on the PS5, I recommend it. So there's that. And I got 2 games for my birthday. So I got Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS5, which is a DLC for Spider-Man, which came out, which has its own case. Should have been 15 quid if you ask Craig. And of course, we talked about last week, Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I played a little bit of Sackboy this week. Really good. Really, really good. It gives massive Mario 3D World vibes. And it's probably the game, if you're going to buy a game that's for PS5, it's probably the one I recommend at the moment. If you like Souls, then Demon Souls, right? But it's a lot of content, and it's pretty fun. It's really good for multiplayer as well, so that's cool. But other than that, I've really spent most of my week playing Xbox, if I'm honest with you. So I played... What have I played, Craig? I've played Forza Horizon 1. So that's good. I've been playing that last couple of days.
Where was that set? Was that Italy?
It was Colorado. Italy was 2.
Ah.
So Forza Horizon 1 is a 360 game, and I'll be honest, it is a very good looking game. Like, I would not be shocked if you turned around and said, oh, this is a launch title for the Xbox One. Like, it looks good. Still plays really well, very smooth. So I've been enjoying that. Played shit tons of Football Manager. I've got some of the rarest achievements on the game and my own personal rare achievements. I think one of the achievements I got is 0.04%. I think I'm the top, top 75 people on True Achievements to get that achievement for the challenges. So that's good. That's bumped up my TA ratio to above Chris's now. So that's exciting. I've just got Craig's TA ratio to catch. Oh, God, I've played so many games, and as soon as you think about it, it just goes, doesn't it? Me and Craig completed Crackdown 3 in co-op. That was a video game, wasn't it, Craig? That was the one that we decided to play.
It's an experience.
Yeah, to Game Pass and co-op. That is its saving graces. That if you want to give the pros in the review, Game Pass and co-op are the two biggest pros. It's stupid fun.
Surely Terry Crews is a pro as well.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, it's just a stupid fun game where you just shoot stuff and it blows up, and it's frustrating in places because it's kind of bad. But it was fun to play with Craig. I would not touch it on my own. Like, you would not be able to pay me to touch it on my own. So there we go. And I've played a little bit more of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Remix Edition, or whatever it is, Final Mix Edition. Still loving that game. I've just did the Mulan world, so I'm still quite early. But I'm enjoying that. Obviously, this evening and the next couple of days off, I'll be stepping into some different games, but we'll talk about the different games later, won't we? So that's a quick one. Let's get over to Craig. I know Craig's played a variety of interesting games this week. Have you not, Craig?
I have. I've played a huge amount of different stuff because the stuff I've played has been quite long. But I managed to finish off the Blood and Wine DLC for The Witcher 3.
Nice.
Which was one of my backlog games at the start of the year that we did. So that's me up to 3 now, if anyone's keeping track.
Show off. Absolutely show off.
It's really good, to be fair. It has really good side content. I think just the Witcher game did in general. All the contracts are great. There's a lot of the side quests are actually really long. Like, some of them go on for over an hour, which is kind of cool. Kind of fleshes it all out quite nicely. The world's great. Toussaint, which is very French inspired.
It's very colourful.
It's really cool. Yeah, you get your own little vineyard as well, which is quite nice. You can upgrade your own little township and that, which is really cool. It's got a really weird kind of morality part at the end where you have to make kind of a few different decisions. You can go to different parts of the world depending on what you decide. Um, I thought I was making all the like good guy right decisions, and that I was going to get like the nice, lovely ending where everyone lives happily ever after. And turned out I must have been an absolute scumbag because pretty much everyone died for me. So
Oh,
I don't know
that's not
what I
good.
did, but yeah, I did not get the good ending. I think I might have even got the worst possible ending, which I don't know how, but it is the decisions you make are really good because they're not like clean cut. Oh, this is obviously the good guy. This is obviously the bad guy. So you can argue for both of them. You can rationalize it all, which is kind of cool. Most games don't normally do that. It's normally quite obvious what you're doing. But yeah, I managed to mess that up. So I finished that. Um, I played. I'll leave. Oh, we've done Crackdown, haven't we? I
We
played more
have.
Wreckfest again this week, which is I think I'm on to the last championship on that now.
That's a good effort.
It is. I'm trying to do. So you don't have to do all the races and like each championship. It's kind of like dirt where you could just
You
like
could
kind of work your
Pengles it,
way
as
to.
is known in the company.
Yeah, but I'm trying to do all the races partly because you unlock new stuff and partly because it's just like such a fun game that you can just
Yeah.
kind of chill and play. Um, there is an achievement for getting to level 50. I think I'm level 30 at the moment, so I don't know if I'll quite make it to that, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm scurrying my way through that. And then the only other game I played, and this is on Chris's backlog. I think if I finish this, I think I should get extra points for finishing this before Chris. And that is Near Automata, which is a fairly un-Craig game,
It very much
as
is. Yeah,
David
it
would say.
very much is.
Um,
Mhm.
but I think I look like about 10 hours in at the moment. Um, so I don't know how long it is, but that's it feels like I'm still kind of near the start-ish. It doesn't feel like I've got too far.
The
I've
way
definitely
you'll
not got
play
any.
it is 40 hours, I reckon. At
Yeah,
least.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say it's about 30, 35 is what I've heard if you go for like the 5 canon endings.
yeah. So I'm doing. You get a lot of side quests in that game. So trying to do like them all as soon as they pop up, which is kind of proving a little bit bothersome because some of them it gives you some of them, but you can't actually do them straight away, which is really weird and strange. I don't know why they chose to do that.
Japan.
Yeah, but that's not really the excuse, is it? That's
Yeah,
just
mate.
like that's poor.
Old JRPGs used to do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And it's I can't remember Yoko.
Yoko Taro.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
very
very him
strange
as well.
director. But it's
Yeah,
how are you finding it? Because obviously, like you said, it is a pretty out there game for you. You know,
That is good. The combat is great in it.
that's our friends at Platinum.
So,
mm,
yeah. It I don't know if it feels kind of Devil May Cry, but a little bit slower maybe. You can shoot with your little robot that's with you all the times, then you can melee away and smash people out with your swords and that. I kind of feel like so. I think RB is the shoot button for your robot. That should just be like glued down at all times while playing that game. But having to hold that down after a while just feels redundant because you're like, why wouldn't I want to be shooting with my robot? So if I could just turn on auto press RB during that game, I'd just keep it going like full 35 hours of it. Because why
Oh,
not? Why wouldn't you?
you could probably do that at console level. You almost
Yeah, you
certainly could
probably
do that
could.
at console level.
I think with
yeah,
the Elite controller, you can mess around with some settings. So I might have a look. It's one of those where actually I don't use the back bumpers that you get with your Elite controllers because I find them quite uncomfortable. But it's one of those where if you had an Elite controller and you liked the bumper buttons at the back, that would be perfect for it because you could just hold it down the whole time. Then you
Yeah.
wouldn't have to even like think about it or move your finger. So that'd be great. Um, but the game itself is yeah, it's very good. I've got to like one twist in it, I'd say, which I won't say. I don't want to spoil things for anyone, but it's quite cool. Done a few boss battles. The boss battles are really good. A lot of them are kind of multi-stage, and you're like 1 minute you're doing like Devil May Cry style combat, and then you're in some like fly mech thing. You're doing some like old school like Space Invadery sort of thing. Then it's a 2D side scroller, and you're smashing it like that. So yeah, the way it kind of changes things up are really cool, and the story seems to be going somewhere pretty cool. But yeah, no, hopefully I'll get a little bit further next week, and then I'll be able to expand on that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things as well. If you end up liking Automata, it kind of does open a world for those type of games. Obviously, there's the remake coming out of the prequel soon.
Yeah.
Which, if you like this, I would recommend because it's more story goodness, and they are slightly combined, like slightly. This is technically a sequel, but you won't. I think there's one character who you probably haven't met yet. I can't remember, But yeah, Yoko Taro is a lovely and very strange man. So it's cool.
Because these are also technically sequels to Dragon Guard as well.
Yeah, to Drakengard, the ending E of Drakengard 1, if we're going to be precise, which means nothing to anyone because no one played those games. No one played them. And only two of them came out over here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so nice. Obviously, Craig hasn't added anything to Fantasy Critics, and we continue our streak of Craig not having any physical pickups this week, though I'm sure it will come. We'll get to May and Resident Evil will come out. You'll have to play it, maybe.
Might even be next month, in fairness.
Oh, is that April? What's coming out in April? If you get near.
Judgment comes out, I think.
Oh, Judgment. Yeah. Another out there game for Craig. He's a changing
Another
man.
Japanese game, yeah.
Just need him to play.
If I somehow finish more Japanese games than you two this year, the gloating, God.
I don't think I will. I think I could.
The podcast.
I think I could match you for Japanese games. That's not a problem. Chris.
What, finished?
Yeah, I can finish more Japanese games.
Okay.
If I finish Kingdom Hearts, that's like 6 games. So
yeah.
You think it finished every Kingdom Hearts?
The challenge is on, Craigo.
Chris is now Googling how long to be fastest Japanese completion so he can bump his numbers up because that's what he does.
No.
Well, speaking of non-Japanese games, Craig, in this beautiful transition, it's been a big week for our friends at Xbox. So I've got the Xbox hoodie today because obviously, why not? And so I'm going to transition away from our faces now because that's what the people want. There we go. Bethesda is officially with Xbox now. So as this little screen shows, they've joined. They did a roundtable. It was great. 20 more games have been added to Game Pass. Well, 9 more. But 20 have been added to all the services. I think that's what they meant because not all of them were cloud.
Yeah, there's an odd one that's like not on cloud and an odd one that's like not on PC.
I think quite a lot of them weren't on PC, were they? So a lot of them have been added.
A lot of them have had like new versions for Windows 10 specifically, which is why I think that you're missing some games as well because they clearly want the newer games to be on cloud and on PC as well, and it's not as simple as just pressing a button. So obviously we'll go through the games that are now playable on Game Pass as of March 12th. We've got Dishonored Definitive Edition, Dishonored 2, Doom 93, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 64, Doom Eternal, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online, The Evil Within, Fallout 4, Fallout 76.
Which I have played a bit of Evil Within. I missed out on what I've been playing because I knew we were going to talk Bethesda. I'm on Chapter 3.
Nice. Fallout New Vegas, Prey, Rage 2, Wolfenstein The New Order, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, Wolfenstein Youngblood. So all those games are now available to play on Game Pass. You can find very easily on Twitter or on this Xbox Wire article what devices and all that kind of stuff you can play them on. So yeah, obviously the roundtable was pretty interesting. Obviously Phil came out and said the words we all wanted to hear about exclusivity, which is good. People are still panicking about this on IGN because they can't believe the literal words the man has said.
But Fallout was on PlayStation, so it has a legacy on
That's
PlayStation.
Not what they mean by legacy,
Fallout 5 is coming to PlayStation.
That's not what they mean.
Oh, but that's what IGN said.
IGN are literally morons. Literally
have been pretty much wrong the whole time, though, haven't they? On every podcast they've done.
And that is what a lot of them have took that legacy bit and gone, well, Elder Scrolls has been on PlayStation.
No, because what he means by what legacy content, this is going to blow some people's minds. What legacy content means in the context of Microsoft is content that is already on older platforms. So Windows 7 is legacy software. It still gets updates. Fallout 76 is a legacy piece of software on PS4 will still get updates. That's what it means.
See, I would have took that was the bit where he said the existing games. He said about 4 different things. I took legacy personally a bit like Banjo is in Smash because Banjo has a legacy with Nintendo.
Yeah.
If there's something similar like to that, I can't think of anything. Bethesda.
There isn't. That's the thing.
That was my
even if that was true, there is no legacy for PlayStation.
Yeah. That's fair, but this is what like I said, the IGNs and stuff, and even kind of funny. It's like Fallout's on PlayStation. They're like Starfield won't be exclusive. Starfield's never been on PlayStation. I totally get that's going to be 100% Xbox, but Fallout and Elder Scrolls and Doom, I have seen a lot, even Xbox centric places think Wolfenstein 3 will still come PlayStation to finish the story of all
No,
of them. I've even seen like Jess Gordon, who runs Windows Central, going Wolfenstein 3 will mostly still come PlayStation to finish the story. Feels like a good chap here still put that on out there,
he's a,
even like Xbox,
he's
even
a
Xbox,
businessman.
even Xbox like fanboys of like thought of like Wolfenstein 3, but that's the only one they've even like said about.
The so in my mind, and I think Craig is really with me on this. The only things that are coming to PlayStation or Nintendo, and less so Nintendo, but mainly PlayStation, is stuff that is contractually already done. That's why they announced That's why they announced Indiana Jones' deal before they got this signed. So Indiana Jones, Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo will be on PlayStation. Okay, and then why would they spend $7.5 billion
Yeah,
to put games on anything else? Why would you wouldn't do it? You would just do. You'd spend two
yeah,
billion and get those games on Game Pass if that's all it
yeah.
was. So, again, I'm not getting into that debate because in my mind, the second we get the trailer for Starfield and it says
Only on
Xbox
Xbox.
platform exclusive or whatever, that shuts everyone up, right? If
Yeah,
you can't see that, then I just don't know what
yeah,
to tell you. If anyone else had bought them, this
mm,
conversation would have not happened. If Sony
yeah,
had bought them, there's no way we'd be going, oh, but and then the crazy thing.
Elder Scrolls, surely that'd
Well,
be
Elder
on there.
Scrolls has a legacy on Xbox. Morrowind
yeah.
was a
Because
console
in the sort,
exclusive. Oblivion
yeah,
was a timed exclusive, and Skyrim
yeah.
actually worked on
I
360.
totally agree. I just
So
there's a few, like I said, a few, like I said, things, but the one I have seen floated about is more than he is Wolfenstein 3, but everyone's like on the Xbox side or whatever, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Fallout 5, whatever will be Xbox exclusive. But like I said,
you
there's
know,
some that
we'll
are
see. I
twisting
mean,
feels
Final Fantasy
where
16 isn't on Xbox. Is that
yeah,
any different? Final Fantasy
no,
13 was, 15 was.
yeah,
Is it any different? No, not really.
no,
Sure, it's not a
no,
sequel in terms of story, but
mm,
Final Fantasy 7 Classic is on
yeah,
Xbox. The sequel, which is Final Fantasy Remake, is not. It's the
mm,
same. It's a sequel. It follows the story. Like spoilers
yeah,
for Final Fantasy Remake, that's what it is. So whatever. But I think we'll get away from the exclusivity conversation because I think it's boring. Okay.
mm,
What I want to talk about really is your guys' experience with Bethesda games, your hopes for Bethesda games, the stuff that excites you about the stuff that's come to Game Pass already, and the stuff you could get. So we're going to start with Craig because Craig's obviously the most sensible of us. So Craig, what's your kind of Bethesda background and like what are you excited to play you haven't played, all that kind of stuff?
So from core, like the core main Bethesda studio, the only one I've actually played, I've not played any Elder Scrolls games, which is weird, I know. But they were all kind of either before I was really into gaming or Skyrim was kind of, it was really hard to get at launch because it was so popular. I think we were talking earlier about
We
how
did.
you at one stage you could not buy Skyrim unless you wanted to pay like £100 on eBay for it, and I was not going to do that, so I didn't play it. Um, and I'm and I know it's on Game Pass now, but realistically, I'm not going to go back and spend 150 hours on an old 360 game in 2021. Um, so yeah, I haven't played any Elder Scrolls, but I have played Fallout 4, which I loved. It's very good, kind of fun RPG. Had quite a weird build when I played it. I kind of went like a weird melee only build because the ammo is pretty sparse in that game. So I just kind of gave up ever collecting ammo and just turned my guy into like an absolute tank. He would just run around with a massive axe or club or whatever and just smash people with that, which is really fun. And then I probably played more of the kind of, I guess, the peripheral studios that they've now kind of bought and owned. So I've played both of the new Doom games. I played 2016 and Eternal, which are, I mean, 2016 is very good and Eternal is phenomenal. As I will keep telling you, Dave, you need to play Eternal at
When
least.
they put 2016 back on Game Pass, I'm there.
Yeah. But yeah, both of those are great. I've played both of the mainline Wolfenstein games. So I always forget the names of these. Is it the New Order's the
The
first
New
one?
Order and the New Colossus.
Yeah. Why they can't just be one and two, I never know. But the New Order I played with that launched, I think, which is it's a really good game. It's kind of got quite a cool little story, which is weird for a Wolfenstein game because it's not really what you would associate with them before, right? I don't think.
No.
Um, but it's got that classic like the alternative history of the Nazis winning the war is like the most popular like thing in it, and that sort of weird genre. And it does that really well. Um, I think the first game I play for them that they've put onto Game Pass would probably be the Old Blood, which is the one that came out between one and
Finally,
two, I think.
I've been tempted to
Yes.
buy this game for years at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those where like the ones that came in between that weren't the mainline ones didn't like review as well as the big ones. So I kind of was never that interested in them. But playing it on Game Pass, for free essentially is a great deal. So I'll probably try and pick that up and play that. I don't think it's too long either. I think it's only like 7 or 8 hours. So
Yeah,
that's a perfect
it's maybe 2 sittings for you. I think maybe
yeah,
maybe even one.
it's a perfect like weekend off, got nothing to play.
Yeah.
Plug through that. And then I think the only other one I've played from them is Dishonored, which is just the first one I played, which I absolutely loved on 360. It's probably one of my favorite 360 games, and then for some reason I've just never got around to playing any more Dishonored. I've never played Prey, so that's the only Arcane game. I think I said last week when we did State of Play that I need to play more like Arcane games
Yeah.
because
Now you
I
can.
don't know why. I've just never got around to it, which is strange. So I probably played. I want to play Dishonored 2. I have no idea when because there's so much coming out and so much stuff already on Game Pass. But I'll try and get to that. I don't think Deathly Outside is on there yet.
No,
But
not
again,
yet.
that kind of sounds like the Old Blood, where it's kind of a shorter story that again you could probably knock out in a weekend. So I look forward to playing that as well.
And obviously you
Yeah, that's
have
pretty
played
much
Rage
it.
as well. You must not
Oh, I
forget,
always
because
forget about
everyone
Rage.
forgets about Rage, but you have played
Yeah,
Rage as well.
yeah. I think Rage 2 is the one that because I'm guessing Bethesda didn't own it when
No,
the
they
first Rage came
didn't.
out.
No, I think Rage 1 was the last id game as a solo developer.
Yeah, I think because it didn't do that well, I'm gonna guess is how they ended up getting bought out. Yeah, I did play Rage 2. I played it when it first came to Game Pass, I think, randomly because I was like, I have nothing else to play. I'll play this game that no one talks about, and it is
No,
the
it
most
is
kind of.
Bethesda.
It is
It is
okay.
Bethesda published.
That's weird that no one ever talks about that because I'd say the first Rage is definitely better than Rage 2 as well. So
Rage 1.
if you want to play a Rage game, play Rage 1.
It's
Yeah,
backwards compatible on Xbox One and Series X.
perfect. But yeah, Rage 2 is like the most like fine average game you can probably find. It's just an open world. It's fun to play. Like the shooting mechanics are great on it because it make great shooters, but it's just the most kind of average kind of wastelandy
Really
game.
good marketing though, which is a big shame for me because the marketing always looks really fun. And then
Yes.
I asked you about it earlier and you said the same. And I was like, oh really? Because it looks
Yeah.
kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not on Game Pass, but better. It's not a first-person shooter either, but it's like similar in kind of the design of that would be the Mad Max game that came out last gen. I'd probably play that instead of Prey 2. It's a different game.
So
completely,
weird that
but-
Xbox One is last gen now. I can't go with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yeah. Rage 2. I always forget about Rage 2, but yeah, Rage 2 would probably be like if I was looking at these games and thinking, right, which one should I play? I'd probably put Rage 2 towards the back of the queue.
Yeah. And obviously, the one game you didn't really mention at all there was Evil Within, which I think when the second one drops, I think you might actually quite enjoy. Maybe a little bit further out from Resident Evil though, because obviously I think there's only so many scary games you can play, Gregor.
Yeah.
So I started Evil Within. I don't know why I've never played it because it's Shinji Mikami, who is the father of Resident Evil, who left after for. I'm Chapter 2. I do get Resident Evil 4 vibes at the start of Resident Evil 4, but it does feel, and especially with like my cardboard hat, I am getting much more Silent Hill vibes. Pyramid head. You've got safe head dude instead. For instance, it does feel a bit more Silent Hill than Resident Evil from what I've played so far. Of that.
Yeah, and obviously that's not a game I'm ever going to play. So we'll do Pengul's next. When you get to me, don't expect me to talk about Evil Within. But yeah, so Pengy, we'll throw the question over to you. What's your experience with the Bethesda games, and
I
what are
looked
you
to
looking
see
forward to
what
playing?
they published, and the very first game I played of theirs that I published was Morrowind on the original Xbox. So that's the first game I published. It's a little bit like different now because obviously they own id. So I had played the original Doom back on like the SNES, and I played it on Jaguar as well.
Yeah,
So
you can include id. They've bought id as well. It's part of
yeah,
the deal.
and then I've played Wolfenstein 3D on like the Jag as well. So just stuff like that. Like trying to think of stuff that they now own. Like they had Commander Keen, which I've never played, but also that's even years back further than that.
Just remembered the mobile game they announced a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, so Morrowind was the first Bethesda game I played on the original Xbox. So that's really good. I played Oblivion. Then I remember playing Oblivion, and they showed Fallout 3. And it's like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Like, it's going to be like Oblivion, but instead of like swords and bows and arrows, it's going to have guns now. I hate Fallout 3. I returned the game like the next day of it. It was like awful. I thought this is the most worst thing I've ever played. Yeah. Well, I even bought like the collector's edition in the lunchbox and everything that had the bobblehead. And and the guy in Game Station was like, "What? Are you returning this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's really bad."
Because that's probably like the one that people
It's
talk about the most.
It's one of the most popular games of all time. Chris is like,
Yeah.
that was really bad. No,
Yeah, like he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want my 70 quid
even
back."
this game guy knew you're a moron.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I was like, "I want 70 quid." And the thing is, I did play it for like 10 hours straight as well. So, don't know. That was a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe I
Burnt yourself out. Who knew?
Yeah. And then I've looked on their list, like they published Brink, which like flopped quite hard. But I actually really liked Blink, and I think if it came out now, it would do quite well, especially if it was on Game Pass or free to play. Those sort of games would do better now than they would back then. It was like an online multiplayer team-based shooter thing, which I remember was actually quite fun. I think it was a bit like the Halo 3 and Crackdown situation. It came with a demo or something else. So I can't remember what it came. Yeah, I can't remember what it came with. I feel like that's why I picked it up because it came with something else.
Maybe. That's a long time ago now.
That's a long time ago. I miss Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim either. So
I expect it of Craig, but you?
Yep.
Really?
So I've not played Skyrim. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So I missed that.
So none of us have actually. I think Dave, you've played it, right? But none of us have finished Skyrim.
No, I've not finished it. Not on 360. I was very close, but not on 360.
And then
we suck. We're the worst podcast ever.
Yeah, like I've played Dishonored 1 and 2. I think they might have played them both on PS3, but I can't really remember. Not played Death by Outsider. So I haven't really played much Bethesda stuff, and the stuff I'm interested in that's been added to Game Pass. Yeah, there's only 2 games, which is either Within and Prey, because that's from Arcane. I'm not really interested in anything else that's been added to it. And out of the 8 studios or whatever that's now being bought, the ones I'm interested in is Tango and Arcane, mainly. Out of Machine Games a bit because they're doing the Indiana Jones game.
Nice.
So you're not excited for like Starfield or anything, Chris? Or
well, I don't know what it is. We've seen like a 1-second like trailer.
And, to be fair, that is a fair comment. That is a fair comment.
And it's from Bethesda's main team. And like I said, I didn't like the Fallout 3, not play Skyrim, and that, so I have no sort of like, oh, I love Bethesda's RPGs. I've played like 2 of them. I do really like Morrowind, but with Arcane, I've played 2 of their 3 games, and I've liked 2 of their 3 games. So
they also made Wolfenstein Youngblood, which I'm going to make Craig play.
Right.
With a gun to his head. So before we discuss everything else, we'll talk about my Bethesda. I think that really tickled Chris. He's gonna die live on podcast.
Mm.
You forgot how to swallow a drink there.
Mm.
Right, Chris, if you
Yeah.
want to mute yourself and have a proper drink now, Pengy, go ahead. So my experience with Bethesda, much like Chris, is I'm very old. So I played Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 3, and Quake 2, and Quake 3, and Quake 4, and Wolfenstein 3D, and the weird Wolfenstein game that was on 360. And I played Rage 1, and I played Morrowind, and I played Oblivion, and I kind of, at that point, kind of slowed down. So I've played most of Wolfenstein The New Order, and then I just didn't. And I tried to play it the other day, and I said to Craig, I just got stuck like this first bit of the game. I just can't figure out what I've got to do. So I might give that another go at some point. Skyrim, I say I got pretty much. I didn't finish the main campaign, but I did like almost all of the side content, because that game is pretty. It's pretty fun if you do the side content, because it's all like separate quest lines, and there's loads of them. And I remember when I first started dating my girlfriend, when she used to come over and watch me cause absolute shenanigans with horses on mountains for that game, and it's just fun. And I that's one of the games I'm actually looking forward to replaying, because it's getting an FPS boost, I believe, so that's pretty fun. Fallout's a weird one. So I played Fallout 1 and 2 on PC as a child, and I probably shouldn't have played them, to be honest. But I haven't played any of the new ones. I played like an hour of Fallout 76 and like 20 hours of Fallout Shelter, but I have not played Fallout 3, I've not played New Vegas, and I've not played 4, so I think I will try 4 at some point, much like Craig said, once the window of game breaks sort of appear and you can fit a 50-hour RPG into it. What else have they made? Prey, never played it, looked too scary, so we'll see, maybe I'll try that another time. Obviously Evil Within, I'm not going to play. What are we even questioning the thought of me playing Evil Within? And then the last one, I suppose, is the other Arcane game is Dishonored. I've never played it. It came out late in the 360, I think, and I just didn't get to it. I wasn't playing games at the time, so I think I'm going to try Dishonored Definitive Edition. Again, that's another one with an FPS boost. I know the Definitive Edition was pretty buggy at launch. This was a couple of years ago, though, so I don't know. I presume that's been fixed, because no one mentions that now. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go at 60 frames, because I think the thing about watching a lot more Arcane footage, having watched all these Deathloop previews, is that they seem to be very creative in how you go about doing things in their games. And whenever I've seen any Dishonored footage, that seems to come across where you can, shoot fucking rats at people, or you can stealth around, or you can just go mental and start stabbing people, and it looks kind of interesting. I'm not very good at stealth, so it's whether that will hamper me.
The level design in the first one, at least, is like incredibly good. There's so many different ways that you can kind of do things on that it kind of like, I'm not a big stealth guy myself, but you can kind of have fun just playing around with some of the nonsense you can do. I'm pretty sure you can like possess fish or something like that. I have a memory that you can possess fish and like swim through the like little grates and then get on the other side of like the castle wall and stuff like that.
So I've only heard about rats. So if I can possess some sweet little fishies as well, and obviously
I think I'm right in saying that.
Like we've said, the second one is a lot more critically acclaimed. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. I am actually, despite Craig's very poor selling of it, I do want to give Rage 2 a go, because as I showed before, I did play and really enjoy Rage 1. I think at the time it got slandered for being like Borderlands but not as fun. If my memory serves me, that was what it was moaned about, but it had some like really good driving mechanics, weirdly, and the open world was incredibly ambitious on the 360. I think it came on 2 or 3 discs, something like that. You had to install something. I can check because it's literally here, but I'm pretty sure it was at the time. It was like one of the best looking games. Yeah, it's a multiple disc game, but it was one of those. It was one of the most ambitious games, I think, at the time. It was a bit of a showcase for the engine. And like you said, like no one ever talks about Rage. Like Craig's played them and forgets about them. So I look forward to that. I was thinking it might be the last Carmack game. That might be what we're thinking about, the id thing. Craig, obviously John Carmack's the master of id tech. Now he's ironically, has he at Facebook now? Freaking Oculus, I think.
Possibly, yeah.
But that's for the current stuff. That's where we're at. I think it's a great acquisition. I think it's a great boon for Game Pass to have that many high quality titles added immediately. We are missing some big ones. Obviously, Death of the Outsider and Doom 2016. When that comes on, I'm playing it. I'm playing. I kind of hope we get Quake in some form, whether it's Quake 4 or if it's Quake Champions. Quake 4 could really do with an FPS boost though, because I remember that game running like dick on the 360. So we'll see. But I suppose the bigger question is, where do we sit in the future here? So obviously we're going to get Starfield and we're going to get Elder Scrolls 6, and we're eventually going to get Deathloop. We're eventually going to get Ghostwire Tokyo. We're going to get Indiana Jones as well. So that's already 5 games that I'd say we'd probably buy. Between us, we would definitely. Chris on his own would buy them all, but like,
No, I'm not sure about Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6.
you wouldn't play
Maybe.
it. So because I like Elder Scrolls is going to be such a big game.
I'd never played Skyrim, and everyone says how great that is. So
Nice. I'm planning to play. So and obviously we forgot to mention, ESO is also on Game Pass, which is supposedly a very good MMO. But yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. I think obviously for the biggest thing that I think about as a developer is the thought of id Tech being involved with all of Microsoft stuff now, if they want to. Like the thought of the Halo guys or the Gears guys just turning around and going, hey, can we use it? Can we use id Tech? And then suddenly all the Xbox games are on id Tech, and it's like, oh, give me Viva Pinata on id Tech. That's what we need. That's what we need. Viva Pinata 3 on id Tech. Listen to me, Rare. And and I just think Orion is a thing that doesn't get talked about much. So Orion is their algorithm for streaming. It's basically what has been used for Stadia, and it's why Stadia, the streaming quality of Stadia is so very good. It's a crazy id Tech, thing they've come up with. So the fact that they now have access to that for xCloud is is very probably part of the money. It's probably a big part of the money is to be able to get that kind of technology for Game Pass xCloud, because xCloud is kind of not as good from a service standpoint compared to Stadia in terms of what's on it. Like it's not a competition, but for all of its faults, Stadia does have really good latency and like really good video quality. So if they're able to sort of get that into all the xCloud games as well and the service as a whole, I think that's a huge benefit that not a lot of people are talking about for Xbox, because as we've said, the play is Game Pass. They want Game Pass everywhere. If we can get to 40 million Game Pass subscribers, that's money. That's serious amounts of money every month. You know what I mean? Now that's a lot of that deal paid off pretty quick. Not that Microsoft need the money, although I love the argument that PlayStation fans say, oh, they're going to miss out on 5 million sales. They don't. Microsoft don't need the money. Microsoft Excel makes more money than PlayStation. Like, come on now. So yeah.
I think Phil said it himself, didn't he? Yeah. In the thing where he, this is the reason they did this was Game Pass, essentially.
Yeah, it's exclusivity for Game Pass. He hears all the gamers. If everyone's fed up, we need to make Game Pass and exclusivity a thing. So we went and bought studios to make Game Pass and exclusivity a thing. That's why they've been doing this for the last 5 years. So it's cool. I mean, for you, Craig, obviously, like you said, your gaps are kind of the bigger games, I guess. Like having the Elder Scrolls as a gap is a pretty big gap in gaming, let alone in Bethesda. So do you think now with it coming to Game Pass, and does that game suddenly jump onto your radar where it probably wasn't in your radar before?
So the older games probably not.
No, I'm not about. Let's forget what's on Game Pass now. I'm thinking future. Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield and stuff like that. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I probably like most Bethesda games I probably would buy nowadays when they come out straight away. It'd probably be like day one purchases. Things like Wolfenstein 3 you didn't mention, but I'd imagine that would be coming, if not the end of this year, then probably next year.
It depends who makes it. I don't know. I don't know if Machine Games are going to make it because of.
I think they're.
Unless they've got two teams.
Nearly. No, I reckon they're probably nearly there with that already. I just don't think they've announced it yet.
It'd be crazy.
You think the last Wolfenstein game that they made came out in 2019, I think.
Yeah, and they assisted on Youngblood, but it wasn't. It was like more an overseeing than like a general assistance. You could be right. I mean, its time has flown by. Obviously, COVID has kind of ruined my passage of time for sure.
And I know they did that small teaser trailer for Indiana Jones, but I really don't. I think
that's years away. Yeah, that's
the
years
primary
away.
stages of that.
Yeah,
So I suspect Wolfenstein 3 is probably quietly nearly done in a way. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a big game for the end of this year, if not the start of next year. But again, that'd be one that I would have purchased. But now with all these games being on Game Pass, it's
You don't
it's
have to.
ideal.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's one of those things for me. I think the biggest hope I have is some long dormant games that I feel like they haven't made because they've had to make money. So like they've had to release Fallout 76 and Youngblood and games like that to get this service revenue. Clearly, that to me that's clearly the business decision they've made. So the fact they don't have to do that anymore, that they can concentrate on making Quake again, is really the one I want. Is Quake. Like I don't know why Quake Champions is not on console. I think it could.
No one plays them though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think
everyone says they want Quake, and then no one plays it. I think that's probably why they didn't make Quake.
Quake Champions' model would 100% work on Game Pass.
Mm.
And because it's a free to play ish game, I think on PC. Like
I believe so.
Put that on
And
console.
I think it's got Doom Guy in it, so why not add Master Chief or something to it?
Pringles has swallowed his own lung. I think that sounds of it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's and even not they if you told me in 2015 that Doom was going to come back and be popular, I would have told you you're stupid, because Doom was done by that point. Like Doom 3, like I thought was a good game, but it wasn't as loved as any of the rest of them. And that was, how many years was that before? 10, 15 years, something like that.
Something like
So
that.
like
Usual Xbox game.
Yeah, so like if they can do that, like if they can suddenly make Doom this crazy high value, like big budget game again, there's no reason they couldn't do it for Quake. I'm gonna keep dreaming for Quake, because I loved Quake 2 and Quake 3 quite a bit. Quake 4 was kind of the similar problem that Doom 3 had, where it was kind of trying to be what it wasn't, and it was a buggy, badly made mess on the 360. It was a launch title, if my memory serves me, alongside Perfect Dark Zero. So wow, what a day that would have been. But yeah, it's one of those things. This deal is like, it's official now, so we can stop speculating. I'm pretty excited for the future, and yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 for free for us, because we're gonna have Game Pass anyway, is such good value on its own. Before you even start talk about Starfield and you talk about Fallout 5, could we get the New Vegas 2 now that Obsidian are in with
in
Bethesda?
Exile, make Fallout 1 and 2.
Originals.
So Brian Fargo, who's the head of In Exile, and I believe the head of Obsidian, they both worked together to make Fallout 1 and 2.
So could we get a new?
We could, if they
Fallout
wanted to make it.
3, but
because you've got all of the
3.
original members of Fallout. I believe the ones that are still alive. Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure all of the leads are now under the Microsoft umbrella, under either Bethesda, In Exile, or Obsidian. Because if you remember, the Outer Worlds big thing was that it was from the creator of Fallout.
Yeah, because they were poking fun at Fallout 76, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Which is kind of funny.
To be honest, I think Obsidian are kind of that kind of studio, so I think there'll still be some banter. I kind of hope they don't make... I'd love a New Vegas remake, because I never played that game and everyone tells me it's the best. But I kind of think I want them to make Outer Worlds 2 instead of making Fallout Vegas 2 or whatever, because I think the Outer Worlds has got legs as a franchise as well. I think it's a really fun game. We all played it to completion. I thought it was a pretty enjoyable game, and I think In Exile probably would need it more, because I think Wasteland, as much fun as that franchise is, I think Fallout will just do better than Wasteland. Because Wasteland 3 came out last year. Was it last year? Or the year before? It was quite a well received game, and
Last year.
none of us, like, I've played it a little bit, but you two haven't. My other Xbox friends haven't. You know what I mean? So
I think In Exile are already basically confirmed they're working on 2 games.
They are working on 2. They're working on a big budget RPG that they've upskilled for, and they're working on another top-down RPG, I believe.
Yeah.
Which will be a Bard's Tale game, I imagine.
Anything Fallout-wise for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They could do it in 10 years' time. They wanted to do it, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. And he said Obsidian could potentially make New Vegas 2. I think they have. It sounds like Microsoft has just been plowing money into Obsidian, so I think they have multiple teams.
They have 3 teams that I know of.
Yeah.
We have the team that's currently doing the Outer World DLC. They have the team that's
Yep.
doing
Avowed.
Avowed, and they have the
Grounded.
team that's doing Grounded.
Yeah.
Obviously, the
So
main
you can
team's doing
see
Avowed.
one of them teams moving on.
Hmm.
You know,
It's
the
going to
Outer
be
Worlds, they've
interesting.
been adding
Obviously,
DLC. So once the DLC is all finished, they could then move
what's
on
that
to
team
something
doing?
else.
I think before they do the Outer Worlds 2, doing a New Vegas HD would be a really savvy business move. Because I don't think it would take too much time and resource in comparison to a new game. But we'll see. It depends what they want to do. Like that's the crazy thing. They have that option now. You know, if we want, we can get Tim Schafer making Fallout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could have Machine Games making Banjo-Kazooie. Or more likely Conker, actually. That'd probably fit better.
Mm.
And we can get what we all want. We can get id making Viva Pinata 3. This is my pitch.
Everyone should make FIFA Pinata.
You know, an old joke aside, you've got, so if you're a studio like
Everyone
the
should have a
Initiative,
go at making FIFA Pinata 3, and they release every one, and like, who made the best FIFA Pinata 3?
it's guaranteed
You have
money.
23 different Viva Pinata 3s,
Yeah,
whichever one.
23 different takes on FIFA Pinata
I'd
3.
play them all. Fucking Shinji Mikami's one would be interesting. But you've got to this point now with the Microsoft Studio acquisitions where if you're a team that isn't involved, so if you're the Initiative and you're the big budget studio that they've pumped in how much money, you know, it's the big studio now, that it's their Naughty Dog, right? That's what they want the Initiative to be. They've already had their pick and they've gone, we want to make Perfect Dark. But once they're done with Perfect Dark, they can just look around and how many fucking IPs can they choose from if they want to make a new game? You know, it's crazy. It is crazy. I kind of hope this means we get like a Microsoft Kart Racer or something. Like, I'm still holding out the dream that we get a Mario Kart with like the Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix.
Why don't they do like a Microsoft Smash Bros? But they actually...
There's Killer Instinct. That's what that is.
So Killer Instinct's kind of what that is, I guess.
It's a lot of thing. But like saying about Quake Champions, that has Doom Guy in there, and like Microsoft do own a lot of first-person shooter franchises. Halo, obviously Gears is third person. We have Perfect Dark, and that is like, why don't bring Champions over to console? Like, next month, new character on Game Pass, you get Joanna Dark or something like that.
They could do. And you're starting to see from all of the publishers across all of games that they want to make this central free-to-play game that feeds other games into it. Like Activision are doing it with Warzone. I think EA are going to do it with Apex. Blizzard have already said they want to do that with all of their franchises. So I would not be surprised if, because Game Pass is this hub where you don't have to make that type of game if you don't want to. I would not be surprised if there is a sort of game, a new game, because obviously Killer Instinct's been around for 7-8 years now, like a new game where they can fit in all of these franchises and have the crossover, because you can already kind of see it in the adverts. They kind of want to do it. They kind of want to have the Doom Guy, Master Chief crossover. They kind of already want to have Joanna Dark hanging out with Fallout characters and stuff. So I hope that they do that kind of thing. And, you know, like I said, I'm a big Rare fan from the N64 days, so I would love to see, you know, it's great that Joanna Dark's coming back, but I really want to see a new Banjo, and I really want to see a new Conker, and I really want to see Jet Force Gemini 2, and all the crazy shit they can do. Obviously, we're getting Fable, we're getting Psychonauts soon. Like, oh man, it's a good time to be an Xbox guy. It really is. So that's really all we can talk about for the Bethesda deal. You know, I think we're all pretty excited about.
That's still the main thing, though. A lot of these games are coming at some point. It's
But it's the same with everyone. I mean, even Sony. I mean, I know Sony announce all their games like 6 years in advance, but like they've got like 3 games they've got announced, maybe 4.
I mean, they've promised a lot for this year, haven't they? But reality,
and they always do this. I remember the PS4 used to be like, we'd watch a show and it'd be like, they've announced this game, and then 6 years later it comes out. You know what I mean? And you're sat there going, well, so Xbox have been honest and they're getting a kick in for it, you know. And then Nintendo are even worse, because Nintendo now go, hey, it's Friday. On Tuesday we're going to put out a game. It's only available until Friday.
The exciting thing is going to be E3 in it for Microsoft.
If it's a thing, like obviously they've announced they're going to do a summer event.
They're not going to just go, let's not do anything. E3 time in it. They're going to do something around that.
They're doing this summer event. They announced it on the roundtable. They've already said they're working on it. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be like 3 hours long.
Huge. Yeah. trying to fit in all 20. Well, I mean, Bethesda are doing their own, aren't they? So they're still
Yeah.
keeping that separate in some sense. But even just the Microsoft Studio stuff is going to be insane. The amount of games they have working on.
Yeah, and you got to remember as well that a lot of these deals were done when they were finishing up games. So most of them have put out games. And I need to, if you're watching this and you're not educated with game development at all, it takes time to make games. Like, it really does. It takes years. It doesn't take weeks or months to make it. It takes years. So you are going to start seeing a trickle of games this year from both platforms as well. And I say this as for PlayStation as well. Is you're not suddenly going to get 6 PlayStation exclusives this year that are worth playing. It's just not going to happen. We've had Destruction All Stars, which was free, and you're going to get Ratchet and Clank in June, right? You will probably get.
You got like the deals like Returnal.
Yeah,
and stuff,
but again, like Returnal is not a AAA game by any stretch of the imagination, and it's also £70, and that's the difference. Is like, like the Medium is like similar kind of studio size to me, and that was and I'm sure Returnal will probably be the better game, but it also costs the same as 6 months of Game Pass. So you're like, okay, we are what we are with that. But I think it's going to take probably until next year before you start seeing a lot of stuff. Like this year for Xbox, we should expect Psychonauts 2 on Game Pass. We should expect Halo Infinite, and I think that's all we should expect. I don't see.
So you're not banking on that Forza Horizon 5 now, okay?
I don't know. Well, what I'm saying is I don't expect it. It could happen. It's been 3 years since Forza Horizon 4. There's 2 teams. There are other teams working on Fable. They've already got the engine for Forza Horizon, and they've got a Series S and X version of that engine because Forza Horizon 4 has that. So it could do it, but I think I don't expect it. If they did do that, then you've got the Halo, which is the biggest franchise. You've got Forza, which is the best franchise, and you've got stuff like Psychonauts and the Medium that have been put onto the console via Game Pass, as well as the fact that they've got all these deals now. Like we're getting Empire of Sin next week. It seems like we're getting Outriders in April. That seems to be what we're getting. So I think we'll be fine to play games, to be honest. But yeah, I think next year you will start to see this go much more fruition. Like you say, I don't know what the exclusivity deal is for Deathloop. The rumor is 6 months.
Right?
I
believe it's 6 months.
So that'll be
so
you'll get both of those. You could probably get Deathloop this year for Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
May, innit?
Yeah, so that'll be
November. Yeah. So let's say December. So
yeah. So to avoid Halo,
I was going to say a month after the 6 months is up. So
December. So you know what I mean. Like, so suddenly you're looking at it and you go, "That's not too bad, is it?" I'm someone who's got both consoles. I'm very lucky, so I will get to play Ratchet and I'll get to play probably Horizon. There'll probably be the other one right this year, and that's great. And then every other game I'm going to be playing on Game Pass because it's just. You get the other exclusive would have been MLB The Show. That's now on both. That comes out next month. So, it's plenty to play. So, yeah, I think Game Pass is going to be a crazy show this year. I think the Game Pass showcase this year will be something. It'll be something. I think there'll be a lot of lists made from people like us of like what the fuck are we playing this year? Because I don't think we're going to get to all of it. But yeah, I suppose, is there any closing Bethesda thoughts, boys and girls?
Not that I can really think of.
Any thoughts at all, to be honest? It's a frightening thing. So that's Bethesda. This is the last time we're going to talk about it, I promise, until there's more announcements, because I don't want to be like every other fucking Xbox podcast. It's just like, we need to talk about Bethesda exclusivity every week. Although this is slowly turning into an Xbox podcast, as Craig has been planning all along to transition as the podcast evolved, as it was.
That's the only way.
It's the only way. So yeah, I suppose we'll end as we always end, boys. What's the plans for this week? What's the gaming plans? Start with you, Pengy. Obviously, you've got your quest now.
I will mostly play and finish both Evil Within and Journey of the Broken Circle. May start Prey, but as you mentioned, a bunch of Bethesda games are getting an FPS boost, and that's one of them. So I may wait until the 60 frame boost on that one. Then mostly maybe go back to Bravely Default, see what's happening on Quest, see if any new games come out. He goes on. Try a bunch of the other like demos and the free stuff on there as well.
Nice. So, Craigo, how about you? Obviously, you're back to work tomorrow, so sadly you won't have your 60 hours of gaming this week.
No, so it'd be more near Automata, definitely. Just trying to work my way through that, and then probably not this week, but once I finish near, probably be the Outer Worlds DLC, which is coming Wednesday. I think it's the 17th. I think
Mhm.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, something
Um,
like that.
that actually looks quite cool because it's kind of this like weird murder mystery. They put up a trailer for that. And the trailer looked really good. So I'll probably pick that up once I finish near and then play through that.
Nice, and as for me, I will promise, as I always promise, that I will play Football Manager, and I don't know what else. Really, that's all you
I'm
can.
expecting all the Kingdom Hearts.
Every single game this week. Yeah, I'll finish 2 tonight. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm one of those people that probably stares at his library more than plays the library at this point. But it's very
Yes.
difficult.
Paralyzed by the
There's a
options.
lot of games, man. There's a lot
Yeah,
of games.
yeah. And
It-
adding 20 more games to Game Pass, and like you said, Empire of the Sun, is it next
Empire of
week?
Sin next week,
Soon, and
and then
then most
potentially,
probably
yeah.
Outriders.
So so you are good friends at the Xbox Twitter account, which is the best Twitter account on Twitter, by the way. You need to follow it. It's just hilarious. Did another one of their teasers, and everyone seems to think it's Outriders. I think people are going to be really disappointed if it's not Outriders now. I don't really know what
Yeah,
else it could be. I
the
kind of thought it was
email.
going to be either Life is Strange 3 Episode 1, or it was
Yeah,
going to
that could
be,
make sense. If you don't know what that's about, it could have something to do with Signal and an
yeah,
anomaly.
or Avengers. That was my two
Mm,
thoughts, because there's the Square Enix event this week.
mm,
Um, and they tend to put quite a lot of stuff on Game Pass. I
mm.
think Outriders would be massive for Game Pass
Yeah.
and for Outriders. I think it would be a huge benefit to that game to
But
come out
both of those
straight to
two
Game Pass.
things from the demo is pretty much the plot. There's been an anomaly, and there's a signal outside the anomaly, and you have to go find it.
Yeah,
That
this
is
is
the
this is
plot.
what Twitter has already decided. So I like,
Yeah.
if they're going to do it, they need to announce it soon so people can cancel pre-orders. But
Mm.
I can't imagine the pre-orders for Outriders are that huge, though.
I genuinely think that the Xbox has seen the response that Destiny 2 has had, which has been very positive on Game Pass, and it's probably gone, actually, this is a pretty good deal for us. I'm sure Square Enix after Avengers is like, please, just we'll take some money. Just give us some money, please. Give us some
And
money.
the demo wasn't that
No,
great at
I
all.
enjoyed it, but it was like I said on the podcast, it's just super generic. But the thing about it being on Game Pass, when you play a game, and this is kind of the same problem that I think Craig was talking about Rage 2 earlier. When a game is kind of middling, you don't really want to drop the money on it. Like, you might enjoy yourself, but it's not. Is it? It's a risk. It's a risk to spend the money. I think with Game Pass, you don't have to take that risk, especially with a game like Outriders, which is live service. It's full price. It's a 3-player co-op game. Like, it's already pretty niche. So if you chuck it on Game Pass, like, say I'd play, like, I'm not going to buy that game. I like the demo, but not enough to buy it. Like, I've got a friend that loves the demo and wants to play it with me, but I wasn't going to buy it. If it's on Game Pass, I'll buy it and I'll play. I'll have Game Pass. I'll play it with him. I'll probably play it with Craig, because I can rope Craig into most multiplayer games, and we've played fucking Crackdown, so why not? So it's like, suddenly that game stands a chance, because if it gets a million people playing it.
Thing. That game, in all honesty, probably would have died pretty quickly if it was just a normal release. Yeah, I think it would have gone down the Anthem route, and at 2 months' time, it's completely dropped off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
But it being on Game Pass does give it a chance. It does kind of, if it's gonna succeed, it's gonna succeed on Game Pass, if anywhere. So, it gives a chance to a game that probably wasn't gonna really move the needle anywhere.
Yeah,
if it wasn't
and the
Game
same
Pass.
sentiment goes completely to Avengers, because you got the Avengers next gen version. That game, in my opinion, could really do with a Game Pass boost.
It's going nowhere, isn't it?
It's going nowhere fast as well. You think how big Marvel is right now off the WandaVision and off Endgame, and from what I've played of it, it's pretty fun, but there's just no reason to continue to play. There's no end game that's worth playing, which is always the problem with these fucking games, man. So, like I said, I would say it's just speculation. It seems pretty likely that it is Outriders, and that comes out the 1st of April. So,
but like you said, Square's having a presentation, which obviously we can talk about now. Like, it could be Life is Strange episode 3 or
Same as
season
Life
3,
is
Everywhere
Strange.
1.
Season 2 launched on Game Pass, if I believe so. So, and obviously, tell me why. It was a Game Pass game. So, we'll probably the next week's topic will more than likely be the Square Enix presentation, which I will have to leave mostly to you two because I haven't played any of Life is Strange. I don't plan on playing any of Life is Strange, and I doubt they're going to announce. I don't know.
It's not Don't. It's Deck 9 again. This one. So.
I don't have no reference for that.
They did Before the Storm.
Okay, and I'm hoping. I always hope for Final Fantasy news as a Final Fantasy guy, but
it's going to be no Final Fantasy.
Ain't going to be any Final Fantasy news. It sounds like we might get Lara Croft Go 2, so that's exciting. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching the show. If you did enjoy our rambles and our madness, add a like, add a subscribe. It does help the show grow to the levels that we want it to. You know, can it be brand wars? No, it can't. But anyway, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at EWFGizmo. You can follow Chris at Massive Das, and you cannot follow Craig. He does not exist on social media. You can follow him on Xbox. Yeah, you can follow him on Xbox at CW Lanky though. Let's see if you can catch his achievements. Definitely check him out on True Achievements because obviously his completion rating is so much higher than Chris's and mine. So you can continue to hold that over us. But yeah, thank you for another week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.